Behold the Source Wall. Behind it is the single greatest secret of the universe. This is as far as I dare to go.
I wonder how long I look like a creep. I'm just standing there like making a face, and I'm like, the intro's not playing. The intro's not playing.
Just standing there, staring blankly.
I know. You know what's funny is today I actually, before we started this stream, I will tell you I took a shower, but before that, I actually got up and was trying to work on a new countdown, like I promised. But obviously I didn't get it ready in time. So hopefully next week we'll have it. That way it'll just be the countdown and the intro combined. That's my goal.
I like that goal.
Yeah, it's a good goal. And I also want the countdown to be more DC related, so that's my other thing.
Each number is a different DC.
I don't know if I'll do that much editing.
In the shape of the number, like Aquaman's doing an 8, Superman's the 9, Batman's the 1. He's really skinny.
Yeah, he's just doing he's hiding in the shadows like this.
Yeah, he's hiding in the shadows.
Yes.
Wonder Woman could be 3.
Yes.
I guess. Be 4. The titular 4. Martian Manhunter. You can just transform into a 4.
Hi, everyone. This is not going to be a pointless conversation that's going to go on for 15 minutes. I'm Seek. That's Alex, the Snot Rocket Olympian. And I am Public Enemy number 1. And today we are going to watch Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. This was a pick that Alex did because we were going to have a guest on this week, but family emergency came up, so we'll try to get Shuddy on hopefully next week or soon after that. But I will say, since you picked this one last minute, whatever one we watch next without a guest, I want to go ahead and just watch Apocalypse, which is a sequel to this.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, because that one I really like a lot, and I think there's like a badass Batman moment in that movie.
I totally forget that that's a sequel to this.
Yeah, it's a different animation style, but it's because the comic books that these are based on were both written by Jeff Loeb, but the artist of this particular story was Ed McGuinness, and the artist of the next arc, which was Apocalypse, was by Michael Turner before he passed away.
I like that they try to stick to the art styles, or at least homage them in some way.
Yeah, because everyone in this looks very boxy and big, like a McGuinness drawing, and the next one, Batman and Superman, are very lean and thin.
Yeah, it's a lot more Turner-esque.
Right. Yeah, they long bodies and stuff like that. So yeah, I did that. But I don't have a ton of news before we get into this. I just want to mention that this weekend is WonderCon, and WonderCon is virtual this year. And of course, Warner Brothers is going to be doing a panel for the DC animated stuff, and they're going to have a panel for Justice Society World War II, which is their next animated movie coming out in April, I think in digital, and then it comes out in early May in Blu-ray and physical copy. So actually it comes out on my birthday in physical copy, May 11th. So I know, I actually told Gary, I said, hey, thanks for that. And he goes, yeah, sure, that's what I did. I picked it like that. He's like, yeah, that's what I did. I made it perfect for you. But no, Gary's super awesome, and I told him I would mention the panel this week. So it's going to be on March 27th, which is Saturday, at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
That's awesome.
Like noonish your time. Right?
About noon my time.
Cool. And then I'll be at work that day, but I will. I'm going to send Alex the link, or I already did, thankfully, and because I'll forget. And I send him the link, so he'll check out the panel, and if there's anything on there that is, whether he gets to see the movie or not, or whether it's just a panel of the cast, whatever, I'm sure Alex will tell us about it next week, hopefully. If that's okay. Yeah? Okay. He's like, maybe, I don't know.
Affirm.
He's like, look, I promised to watch the link, but that's it, But also there's a clip going around you can watch online right now, which is from the movie Justice Society, World War II, and it's about Flash arriving in the past, and the first thing he sees is a bunch of Nazis. And it's actually a really funny clip. He goes, Nazis? And then they all turn and start shooting at him, and then he does like a Quicksilver moment from Days of Future Past, where he's just kind of like gingerly walking up to people and tapping them, and and like one guy, he just like does like one of these and blows air in his face, and and then when everything speeds up, the guy flings away. It's pretty cool. I mean, I always love that scene in the X-Men movie. So, but if you are you know watching those clips or sharing any information for this movie out on online at all, like in social media? Make sure you use the hashtag JSWWII. So Justice Society World War II II. So yeah, so that's pretty much all the news I got, Alex. Anything you got going on?
No, I mean DC doesn't send me emails or anything, so
I know, but I'm gonna try to share them with you and stuff. I actually wrote an email and asked if that was okay, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be okay.
I can talk about the new Star Trek: The Next Generation episode that I watched, even though it came out in the '90s.
No, you can't.
Oh, okay.
It's not a Warner Brothers property. We'll create a Paramount show, and you can talk about it over there.
Oh, okay, great.
We'll
I
get
would love
Paramount
to do
Plus.
a Star Trek podcast.
Yeah,
We'll do a watch along.
Yeah, we'll do a watch along. You can explain Star Trek to me.
Yeah, and I'll be like, "Oh my God, Zeke, it's one of my favorite episodes," and you're like, "Alex, you say that every week."
Yeah, so every week now that we're on season 2. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so well, yeah, that's all the information I had. And then the last thing I want to say is this book, the book that this movie's based on, because this movie's only an hour and 6 minutes, so it's a short one. So if you're at home, make sure you watch along. We have our movies up and ready. We hit play already on the menu screen, so now we're just paused at
Sitting
zero,
at 0-0.
Yeah, at 0-0. And what I would say is, if you've never read this book of Public Enemies or any of the Jeff Loeb run, he wrote it right before his son Sam passed away. And then I think after this run, he eventually went over to work at Marvel, and then now he's like head of Marvel TV and stuff. And but Jeff's always awesome. His son Sam was a really nice kid, and he wrote this run. Basically, he wanted to write something fun for Sam. He was like, I want to just do something that is kind of just out there, crazy. It touches on continuity, but it's just having fun. And this was almost like an Avengers level movie before the Avengers movies came out. Like this was him going, I got Batman and Superman in the same comic. I want this to be just the biggest and funnest and craziest and most popcorn, eating frenzy thing that you could ever experience. And I think he nailed it. If you've never read the comic, check it out. It's got my favorite Nightwing moment in it. Nightwing is one of my favorite characters in DC. And this comic book, they don't have it in this movie, but in the comic, there's a scene where all the sidekicks break into the White House to take down President Lex Luthor. And Lex Luthor beats the living crap out of all of them, except for Nightwing. Nightwing refuses to fall. So like Tim Drake and Batgirl and all of them have been knocked out by some kind of knockout gas, but Dick Grayson will not fall. And so Lex Luthor, who's juiced up on Bane serum, is punching the crap out of Nightwing. And he's like, fall, damn you, fall. And Nightwing he's like, his arm's broken, his jaw's busted, and he's like looking right at Lex Luthor and he goes, never. And I'm like, that's so hardcore and so cool. So yeah, that moment's unfortunately not in this animated movie, but it's in the comic, so go read it. Have you read the comic at all, Alex?
I haven't. I see it occasionally at half-price books when I stop in there, because that's where I'm poor, so I buy a lot of my comics from half-price books.
Nice.
My favorite place to shop. So it's occasionally in there, but I haven't grabbed it yet. I'm waiting for it to be at the right price.
I think they might all be on sale right now in Comixology. So if anyone's watching
I might check that out.
This weekend,
good
I
point.
think that whole run is on sale. All right, well, that's all I got, man. You ready to dive into this?
Oh, I'm super excited, man. This is one of my favorite DC animated movies.
Yeah, you picked this, and I'm so glad you did, because you actually picked this because you wanted a contrast to the Snyder Cut, which we watched last week, and you wanted something that was featured some of these characters, but just went in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good idea. I think that's a great way to, continue on after watching something that was so epic and mammoth-sized, that movie. It felt like a Lord of the Rings movie a little bit.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, for how long it was.
Yeah, I guess in length, yeah, definitely. Awesome. So everyone at home, get ready. Go to 00 time code. So if you're on the menu screen, hit play and just pause it for a second. And as always, we'll do 3, 2, 1, and on 0, we'll hit play. So here we go. You ready, Alex?
I am ready.
Let's do this. 3, 2, 1, play. Yeah.
Warner Brothers logo. So Warner Premiere. Oh my goodness. A Time Warner company.
Yes, now it's an AT&T company, I believe.
Everything's an AT&T company now.
I'm an AT&T company.
Yeah, I mean, my life has been sponsored by AT&T.
This is pretty neat because this I can't remember exactly when this movie came out, um, but this reminds me of the kind of the market crash we had in like the late 2000s.
It kind of even reminds me of what's going on now. People being like, jobs. I need
Yeah,
jobs.
yes, yeah, yeah, very much so.
We haven't gotten to the point where tanks are going through cities, but
No, I think that's supposed to be like a Jon Stewart type, right?
yeah, like something like a Jon Stewart or like a Conan O'Brien, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
This guy's Larry King. It's like a
yeah.
Larry King show.
I love this though because it's like, well, first of all, the Gotham Gazette is reporting on this instead of the Daily Planet. I like that they did that. But Lex Luthor as president, like that was a huge moment in the Superman comics. I think he became president right around 2000, and then they did a story about the Y2K virus, where Brainiac shows up to use the Y2K virus to wipe out the planet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. And Lex Luthor kind of helps the American people through that. And he's like the president during Batman No Man's Land. Like he's president for a couple of years in the comics. So this was Jeff Loeb going, you know what? We can't let Lex Luthor be president anymore. So he went to DC and was like, can I like take him down? And they were like, sure.
They're like, yeah, why not? Like, how
Yeah,
isn't Power Girl like an alternate universe Superman or something?
she's an alternate universe Supergirl.
Oh, she's an alternate universe Supergirl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Um, she in the animated series was like a clone of Supergirl called Galatea. Um, But yeah, I think she's an alternate universe, but they don't really go into that here. They just kind of use the
No.
character. Like for example, Major Force, the guy who's on the end of the group, the one who's kind of the bad guy on the team.
Yeah.
Um, he's the one who I believe who shoved Kyle Rayner's girlfriend into the refrigerator in the comic books, which
Oh,
is what
really?
which is where Gail Simone coined the term refrigerated for female characters. So that was ballsy for them, even though he was in the comic. I didn't think they'd put him in the movie, and they did. So, all right. But he didn't shove anyone in any refrigerators in this.
Still, I think a dick in this movie, right?
Yeah. So CCH Pounder's sister, I'm a huge fan of. She plays Amanda Waller, but Allison Mack is in this as Power Girl, I believe. And Allison Mack is the girl from Smallville who played Chloe, who had all that controversy about like inducting young women actors into like a sex ring. I don't know if you ever heard
Oh,
that story. Yeah,
no, I had not. I
yeah,
had
that
just
is intense. Like I just learned it over the past couple of years, and I had the biggest crush on Allison Mack. And here, her and her boyfriend was like some cult leader, and they kept indoctrinating young women actors. Even tried to get some that worked on the show with them, and then just brought them in and just I don't know, like and trafficked them across state lines and offered them up to people. It's like really this whole like there's a documentary on it and everything. It's crazy.
oh wow. I had
Yeah,
no idea.
yeah, no kidding.
And at one time, she was in a DC animated movie.
Yeah, and before that, she was the love of a lot of our lives on Smallville, and then
I've never seen Smallville.
oh my goodness, wow! I don't know how it would hold up
You
if you
haven't
watched.
sold it well to me with this sort of description that it's full of child predators.
He's the one, but I mean, one's
She's the
enough.
one child
Yeah,
predator on the
as
show
far as I know.
Smallville.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Are you sure Kevin Spacey doesn't have a appearance or anything? Guest star?
Talk about Sam Liu. He's a good director, and he did a great job on this movie.
Is this a Sam Liu one as well?
Yeah, he does a lot of these movies, and
He
even
has done a lot of them, and he has such a variety of them too. Like some of them are goofy, some of them are way more serious.
that's what I like about him is he picks projects that are somewhat different than his previous ones. I mean, of course, if they're like, hey, that was good, do you want to do the sequel to it or something? He usually will, but in most cases, he's like, I want something that's totally different than the last thing I did. And that's what I really like about him.
There's such a vast like change in quality and animation sometimes too, because I think he did like that Harley Quinn movie we both really don't like, but I think he also did Teen Titan, the Justice League vs
Yeah,
Teen Titans, which is my favorite,
right.
and those movies are vastly different.
Well, he does raw and he storyboards a lot of his own stuff sometimes when he works on other projects. But when he's directing, I think I could be wrong, but I think he goes off of the designs of the people that are hired. Like Phil Barassa does all the designs for the Justice League versus Teen Titans and that whole continuity of movies. That's
Yeah.
all Phil Barassa, and he's doing like his Jim Lee impression with that art style. Um,
Oh, and
but
Superman just shoots that guy's gun out of his hand.
I love that. Yeah, it's so good. Um, but yeah, like, uh, but yeah, I like that Sam is like he does. You're right. He picks different animation styles. Like he works with different artists.
I think it's weird that they try to come and convince Superman. Like they they should know he's gonna be like, no, we have a personal grudge against each other.
Right.
He's tried to murder me a lot.
Right. Right.
And then Adam's coming in here being like, hey, but like interest rates are down. Like people can get like a 2.2% mortgage. Like let the murder stuff go.
Well, that's the thing. It's like that's Lex Luthor's thing, though. He does evil things, but he doesn't like to let the world know he's doing evil things. So yeah, for the when he's in the role of a president, he's going to try to like push different agendas that make it look like he's more progressive in some areas and conservative in other areas. And he's gonna play that line. But again, one president can't really do all that. So he must have bought everyone on Congress, like everyone in Capitol Hill. He like bought them out because for him to get all that stuff done, he'd have to have a very cooperative House and Senate.
Yeah, it's like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos running for president, vice president.
Yeah, yeah, it's like some billionaire. Yeah, I always love the animated series Justice League Unlimited, where they ask Luthor, they're like, "We know your plan. You're gonna run for president," and then he picks up. I can't remember if it was Flash or somebody. He picks them up and he just bitch slaps them, and then he just is the question. He just bitch slaps the question, and then he just goes, "You idiot!" He goes, "You know how much power I'd have to give up to be president?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's the best line ever."
Yeah, that's sort of the truth. It's like, do you know how much less I could do?
As yeah, you know how restricted I am as being president of the United States. So that's why I always like that more than him actually being president. Um,
It's kind of an interesting story of having Luthor be president. Like,
sure. Yeah, I mean it works on some level. I mean you can tell news stories with Lex in that role, which is why they did it, obviously.
like
Um,
this story works really well with him as president. Like,
yes,
I
right.
like.
Yeah. There's CCH Pounder as Amanda Waller.
Who do you think? Who's his vice president? Do they ever say?
I God, was it Pete Ross in the comics? I think it was Pete Ross, who is Clark Kent's childhood best friend. Um, I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like he worked for Luthor during that time. I don't know if he was vice president, but he might have just worked for Luthor.
Who do you think? I feel like I don't know who his vice president should be. I don't know who I would pick if I was Luthor.
I got Mercy Graves. I don't know. I love that they got the voice actors of the animated series though. Like I think it's Kim Daly coming back to do Superman. We got Kevin Conroy. We got CCH
Kevin
Pounder.
Conroy is so iconic.
He's so good. Yeah.
It's maybe that's what we should do. We should do like a Kevin Conroy marathon.
You got time to watch 20 seasons of cartoons?
Yes,
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I guess I'll quit my job.
good. Cartoons begin tomorrow.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man.
That's what I do. If I won the lottery, see, we would watch cartoons.
Yeah.
President One, he's got a vanity plate for letting everyone know.
There you go.
Why would anyone agree, like, okay, Luther, fine, we'll meet in an abandoned warehouse as your president of the United States?
Right. I like this.
Oh no, he's been
Yeah.
poisoned by kryptonite.
Yeah.
I
Get
don't
him.
think magic against Superman is utilized enough.
No, that's a good point. But I don't know if a lot of villains, even Lex, knows of that weakness. Um,
It's a good point. He's not really a magic user. He doesn't think about magic.
well, and I don't know if you've seen. I mean, I know in the comics now for sure, and maybe even around this time, he probably started to figure it out. But for this movie, I think yeah, they were like, let's just keep it simple, keep it to kryptonite. But you're right. I love seeing. That's actually if someone was like, hey, would you do a Superman movie? I'm like, as long as he could fight someone magical based, because that's the one thing we haven't really seen in the movies.
Yeah, it's just something you don't see very often. It's sort of really only dealt with when he fights Shazam, I think.
Yeah,
Like,
with
that's
Black.
mainly.
Yeah, and he with him and Black Adam because there's been a ton of fights with them too. But there's also Mixio the imp from the Fifth Dimension.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, which is I think a fun villain. I
I
love
wonder,
Mallow.
is there any, like, Dr. Fate Superman fights? Because Dr. Fate could probably kick Superman's butt.
Yeah, if there's some JSA stuff where there's a Doctor Fate interaction with Superman. I think. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you know what would be funny? Constantine versus Superman.
That's why I had actually told this to Sam Liu once about they did a Batman movie called Justice League Dark, and it has Batman in it, an animated one. And my critique of the movie was I wish they used Superman instead of Batman because Superman has he has an allergy to magic. It would be cool to see him next to because again that contrast when you have John Constantine and Batman next to each other, they're both dickheads. There's no contrast. But I'm like,
Yeah.
but if Superman next to John Constantine, I love that. I love that concept of them two working side by side and them going up against a villain that Superman needs John to help him fight. You know?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Constantine's such a fun character. He appears in so many, like he's such a weirdly iconic character. Like he appears in Sandman,
Yes.
like prevalently. Like he's got, it's not just sort of a, it is kind of a one off thing, but it's a prevalent role within that story.
Oh yeah. Um, well, the weekend Justice League Dark came out, I posted my review on YouTube. It was my old review of it
Yeah.
from like 5 6 years ago, whenever it was. And not saying I had any influence on the movie, but when they made a second Justice League Dark movie called Apocalypse, it was Superman teaming up with John Constantine,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is what I wanted. Um, the comic book of this. So right now we're watching the graveyard scene. Let me get a time code for you guys. 14 minutes 36 seconds. Um, in the comic book, it actually opens up retelling the origins of Batman and Superman, but through first person, and it's really neat. You see like Clark getting put into the pod, and then in one panel, and then the next panel, you see Bruce looking up, holding the hands of his parents in the alley, and then the next panel is Superman's ship flying away from Krypton as it explodes, and then the fourth panel is Batman looking up and seeing the gun go off, taking his parents out, and I'm like, and that's it, and then the next page is modern day, start with this story, and I'm like, that is the best way to one page their origin. Like that was done so well.
Yeah, that does sound pretty cool. I love how Batman's like, I'm prepared for surgery.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what's that belt is for, man.
Yeah, it's literally like, he's like, oh, do you need anesthesia? I have that too.
Yeah, I got a
I have a
Batmobile.
sucker for when we're done.
I love that line. He's like, get a sense of humor, Clark, and he's like, yeah, do me a favor, buy one. They made toys from this comic book that were almost identical to McGinnis's artwork, and the Metallo one was my favorite because that was the toy. He had the arm scoop, and he was missing this arm, and the toy was just kind of like it was so cool. It was like a mini statue. It was awesome.
That's gotta be so cool as an artist to see like your stuff made into toys like that.
I'm telling you, it's the one
Like your
reason why.
style mimicked.
Yeah, it's the one reason why I still push myself to draw every once in a while because I I had this dream in the back of my head that someone will pick something I draw and go, this would make a cool bust or a cool something, and I'm like, please someone do that. Please, I would love to see that. That's amazing. Oh,
Oh, oh, it's you.
oh, it's you. I love that shot. And there's like a long like he's like trying to figure out like what are you doing here. They are about to mention my least favorite Batman villain of all time. Uh, whenever I get asked, like, do you have a villain? Because I think Batman has probably Batman, Flash, and Spider Man have, and Superman. I think they have the four best villains of all comics. And so people go, do you have a villain you don't like? I go, yes, Magpie. I hate Magpie.
I don't even remember Magpie.
He's awful. Um, for Superman, I hate Rampage. Rampage is one of those villains I'm not a big fan of. Um, Although they did do a Supergirl comic where they retold the origin of Rampage, and I like that a lot. Like they gave her a little sister, and it was much more, way better done. Magpie in Post Crisis on Infinite Earths, Batman and Superman teamed up for the first time in a story in Man of Steel by John Byrne, and I want to say it was issue. Oh, here it is. Hold on. I love that. He's like, what happened to Magpie? He's like, she died. He's like, man, why can't the good villains? Why is always the good villain to die? And he goes, what's a good villain? I love that. Um, so in Man of Steel number 2 or 3, I think it was, Superman and Batman team up for the first time post Crisis, and Batman shows up in Metropolis tracking Magpie, and he says, look, Magpie is one of my villains. She's in your town. She's causing problems. I want to stop her. And Superman's like, well, why should I trust you? And Batman says, well, I attached a bomb to a single civilian. Someone in Metropolis, a civilian, has a bomb attached to them. And if you don't help me take down Magpie, that bomb goes off. And Superman's like, what the hell? And he goes, I heard you were crazy, but Jesus. He's like, fine, let's go do this real quick. So they go and take down Magpie. And she's the worst villain ever. They take her down in like 2 seconds. But then you find out at the end, the bomb that was the person that had the bomb attached to him was Batman. Batman's like, I'm the civilian. I have the bomb on me. And and now it's deactivated because we stopped Magpie. So, yeah.
I love how just like Batman's like such a lie of omission sort of guy. Because he
Yes.
just tricks everyone that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I also love that Superman and Batman are best friends.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, they become best friends.
They
Um,
become best friends, and they're closer in different series than others. But
yeah,
I always find their friendship very fun and interesting.
I do too. Like, I'm a big fan of Green Arrow and Green Lantern. Um, like Hal Jordan and Oliver Queen. Always love that relationship. I've always liked Dick Grayson and Wally West. I always thought they had a great relationship. Um, DC, for people out there who are into shipping, you'd have a field day in the DC universe. You could ship so many male characters together. but uh, but I'm with you. I love the Batman Superman dynamic. I think it's one of the best in comic books. And I like how Luthor fudged that footage to make it look like Superman killed Metallo.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, and no one's like, can we see the uninterrupted shot? Because there seems to be a lot of changing of spaces there.
Right. Well, I also like how Lex Luthor is framing Superman during a meteor that's coming to Earth. It's like, hey, maybe one thing at a time. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I love this.
I'm announcing
$1 billion. I always love
He
stories.
put a statue of himself outside the White House.
I know. I know. I love. Yeah, this Lex is so great. Clancy Brown is just amazing at Lex Luthor. I don't think you can just knock on the president's door like that, but I guess.
I mean, if you're like a superhero, it's just like, I flew in through the window.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like this because it sounds like Batman's accusing him, but Batman knows he didn't do it. He was with him. But Batman's like, yeah, but I was with you. I'm your witness. So who the hell is going to believe that you didn't do this?
Yeah, it's like if Batman's just coming out being like, yeah, he's good.
Yeah, because that's what I like about Batman is when someone pulls a chess move, like a Amanda Waller or a Lex Luthor, and it catches him off guard, he respects the chess move. He's like, he's objective about it. It still pisses him off, but he's objectively looks at it like, okay, how do we turn this around?
Yeah, where he's like, okay, there's a game being played, and
Right.
now some cards have been put on the table.
Yes.
You're right.
You're right. I don't think he'd understand why I was late. Was it Lois? Yeah, you're right. I like their working relationship as much as their friendship because Batman just has a method, right? He's very much a detective. Now, even though Clark has an investigative journalist approach to things, investigative and journalists they're not like, it's not the same level of a detective, right? Their goals are similar, but the methods are different. So I love that, again, contrast.
Yeah,
where,
like,
Batman's like, hey,
Superman
shut the fuck up, stop talking, kind of thing. Yeah, Superman's like chatty.
yeah, like Clark, he's very transparent, and he's like, oh, I want to be honest with what I'm doing. And
Right.
Batman's like, why would you be honest?
Right. Right.
Yeah, like, I love how Batman's like, we could subdue the guards, and Superman's like, we could just punch a bunch of holes.
Right. Right. We'll just cause collateral damage.
I love when superheroes have to carry people like baby style.
Yeah, and Batman hates being carried.
Yeah, and it's the best thing. Like, I really love scenes where Batman has to be carried baby style by Superman.
Silver Banshee, awesome character.
The ripples on his face.
Yeah, man. She's kind of magic-y, so. I love.
Cold Crew.
Yeah, I love this scene where you just get villain after villain after villain.
Yeah. Where it's just like all these kind of B-listers that are all coming after him.
Yes. I also love that this is the only time in the comics Batman has ever beat Lady Shiva in a fist fight. But to be fair, none of these characters are acting of their own free will. So he didn't really beat the real Lady Shiva. Technically, it's an
Oh, he
actress.
has to fly really high
Yeah.
to like knock her out.
I love this. We got Mongol, who needs no American money at all, and Solomon Grundy, who needs pants.
Yeah, it's like he just needs a Levi store.
Solomon Grundy wants pants too. I love Grundy.
Is that how people get rid of rats traditionally, by drowning them?
I guess. Grundy's from like the late 1800s or early 1900s, I think.
I love the eventualities Batman plans for. It's like if someone tries to remove my mask, it's gotta shoot gas in their face.
That's actually because Jeff Loeb also wrote Batman Hush, the comic book, and that was also used in Batman Hush. Someone tried to peek up and they got hit with gas, and then another person tried to cut through his costume and they got hit with electricity. Shiva. God. Mongol is another villain I'd love to see in a Superman movie. Because he's someone who can just go toe to toe with Superman. Boom.
Wasn't Shiva in the Deathstroke Knights and Dragons?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yep. So I love this. All the actors that played all these, because not a lot of them have speaking roles, but the ones who do speak, they all speak with the same cadence in their voice, like the same pattern. And that's because of the reveal here, which I think is really great, where you find out that Grodd is just mind controlling all these villains. He wants that $1 billion, so he's mind controlling like 20 villains, and he's like, one of them will kill these guys, and I'll get my money.
He's like, he's like, this will work out for me somehow. He's like, it's just a game of numbers.
Right.
I love how it's just like, Superman, pull.
Yeah, I love that. Boom. Oh, I thought it was gonna hit her.
It's just gassed her.
Yeah, just gassed her. I'm like, yeah. Oh, I love that shot. Well, now these guys aren't brainwashed, but they're just here for the money. Giganta, Catman, Deadshot, Calypso. I love it, man. Cheetah, Black Manta, King Shark.
Cheetah.
So many villains. That's what I loved about Jeff Loeb. I don't know how many writers do this nowadays in comics, but Jeff Loeb loved to do this. He'll talk to his artist and go, "What characters do you want to draw?" And Ed McGuinness was like, "All of them." And Jeff Loeb like, "Cool," and that's what made him come up with the idea for the bounty, because he was like, "Well, how do I get all these characters in this story? I know, I'll just put a bounty on their heads." I'm like, so simple.
Yeah, that's what I would do as a writer. I'd be like, all right, what are the things you want to draw, and let's build a story around that. Because that's going to get the best art out of you. You're doing the shit you're most interested in.
We did that with PJ on Last Time Traveler. We were like, "Hey man, you can draw anything in time. Like, what do you want?" And PJ was like, "I want to draw dinosaurs, and I want to draw like a woman in a space outfit riding the dinosaur shooting a laser gun." And I'm like, done. And we
He's like, we
figured out
can
how
do
to
that.
Yeah, we can figure out how to do that in the story. So I love this is Luther's League of
Yeah, and Starfire's part of it.
yeah, Starfire and Black Lightning. Captain Atom will join any team that the military's in charge of because he
Yeah,
is
he's
Air
such a
Force.
pushover.
I love Captain Atom, but that's my favorite thing about him is that he's like this. He's predictable, so it's easy to write stories with him because you're like, where would he fall on this line? Well, he's wherever the government stands, that's where he's going to be. But that episode of Just League Unlimited where him and Superman fight each other, and Superman just beats the living crap out of him, and he's like, I don't want to do this, and Captain Atom like punches him with red energy, and it like it hurts Superman because red sunlight hurts him. So he's like okay, he just starts beating the crap out of him. He's like, stop making me do this. You're my friend.
That's why I like the end of Superman versus the Elite.
Yes. Yeah, we got that's definitely on the list, right? I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, every DC movie is on the list except Killing Joke.
Yeah, and Harley Quinn.
I could rewatch Harley Quinn. I think we would have fun goofing a little bit on it, but I don't think we would have any fun watching.
That's true. You're right. No, Killing Joke is just abysmal. I can't watch that movie again.
I love how Batman's like, just goop your face. I love how it's just solutions to things.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, I don't care how much power you have. I'm taking away your sight.
Right. Right. Yeah. There was a comic where Batman did that, where he's like internal mom. That's my favorite. What Batman is like Punisher to me. I don't like a Batman who verbally says things out loud a lot. I like a Batman who internalizes, and you can do that better in a comic with the legends and stuff.
Yeah.
But I love that about Batman, where he's like he's like, all right, this guy he's squeezing me. My arms are down. What do I do? And then so he like has like a capsule in his mouth, and he like pulls it out and he spits it in the guy's eye, and it's like acid.
Yeah.
And he's just like, that's the move I got.
Yeah, that's the thing about Batman is like he's so over prepared that he always has a move.
That's the thing is like Grant Morrison, I think, said it really best. He's like, by the time he started writing Batman, he saw Batman because he looked at all those times where Batman would get out of a situation, and he's like, Batman's just the ultimate survivalist. Like he's ready for anything. He's ready for any attack at any time. Now, granted, it doesn't mean he can't be caught off guard. But once Grant Morrison said that, I was like, oh, now I understand Batman a lot more, because he's just like he's a walking Swiss Army knife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I like that they just let this scene go on for like 10 minutes, like the battle. They didn't.
I mean, when the movie's only an hour, you can do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is the movie's only an hour, so I'm surprised they did do that because, like I said, they cut a lot of story elements out of this. So so you could have easily cut that fight short to make room for the other things. But people think just because it's animated, there's not a budget, or like budget doesn't work in the sense of like characters. So I saw people talk about that. They're like, oh, why didn't you just draw Nightwing and all the sidekicks and put them in this movie? It's like, because that requires an artist to draw them all, and at least 2 or 3 of them to be cast as with voices.
Yeah, like there's more
There's
things
still
to it. You had all those villains in
Right.
there in that big battle.
Right. But yeah, so I'm like, yeah, there's still a budget here. You need money for all those things. I think Dietrich Bader does the voice of Captain Atom. I can't remember. Whoever does is good. Sounds like pretty good. Now that you've been up close and personal with Luther, why are you still dressed like that?
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, like pants. Like I don't think that's bad.
Yeah, Yeah, pants. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, is that not what you're talking about? Not pants?
I mean, sure, pants are fine. I just oh, ooh,
Isn't it weird how Adam and what's the red one again?
major force.
Major Force, Captain Adam and Major Force. They're literally the same character design, just recolored.
Kind of. Superman just hit a woman. I do like this score. The music is actually really good in this scene. Oh, I love that.
Just they roll in and you're like, ah, damn it.
Yeah, he's just like, shit.
It's like, how did this happen? God damn it. So prepared.
But I do like that Batman they get a couple licks in on Batman, which is good. You know, he's still a guy, so
He's still a guy fighting like an atomic being.
right. I love this. That's how Batman fights people who are super powerful.
Yeah.
He calls them stupid.
And I love how Power Girl just makes the situation so much worse.
Oh yeah, because just like Captain Atom, these guys get their suits get ruptured and they go off like atomic bombs. That just shows you how much Superman and stuff holds back when he punches guys like Major Force.
Oh
'Cause,
yeah, like how Power Girl just can rip him up, and Superman's like he's having to be like, oh, okay guys, let's box. Uh, throw some light ones at you.
I know Superman's super strong, but I would love to see a story where someone shows him how to throw an actual punch.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Like he loses his powers, and then he like joins a boxing gym,
There you go.
and then he like comes back, and he's just such a better like fighter, and he like really like just knocks out like Solomon Grundy or just some like kind of high strength supervillain.
Could you imagine a Superman that knew pressure points?
That would be crazy. Yeah, like a super. It would be funny. Like Batman gets the powers of Superman, and he's like this ultimate ninja warrior who now has this like unbeatable power.
Yeah. Oh,
I always forget if Captain Atom survives. I always remember Major Force dies, but
yeah, I think Captain Atom does because he absorbed most of the blast. But when he
yeah.
absorbed the blast, in the comic book, actually, this exact thing happens, but Captain Atom absorbs Major Force's blast, but his blast and Captain Atom's blast is so powerful that actually transports Captain Atom to an alternate universe. And for a whole year in the comics, Captain Atom is he's in the Wildstorm universe, I believe. Um,
Oh
and
really?
yeah. And then before Wildstorm got merged into DC, and he's over there doing his thing for like a year, and then the book ends with him disappearing again. And you're like, what happens? And then in the final story arc that Jeff Loeb did, like issues 20 to 24 or whatever of this book, or 19 to 24, Captain Atom shows back up. And he's like, where have I been? I'm like, dude, you've been missing for a year.
That's crazy. That's a good. I like that story.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
It's pretty awesome. That series was a lot of fun.
Oh, I wonder if Luthor's missiles will work.
Yeah.
those cameras up there? You got cameras where you're nuclear.
Yeah. Good thing. You would think spending all that money. Well, I mean, of course, this is what Lex wanted. So it's not that he didn't account for that. He just didn't care. Although it seems like oh, that's weird because he's sitting there trying to solve it still. Oh yeah, because he still wants credit for saving the world. So I guess he did think that was going to work.
He just doesn't want Superman to win.
Right. He wants to save the world, and yeah. So what are you doing?
If Superman does save the world, he wants it to be under his direction.
Right. Yeah. Right. What Lex is doing there is he's injecting himself with Bane serum that's mixed with kryptonite, so that way he can get super strong. But around Superman, he'll make Superman weak. But I don't think they really.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they.
I don't think they do. It's like basically it's like kryptonite strength serum.
Right. Yeah. So we're 42 minutes in. We got about 20 minutes left or so, 24 minutes left. Did they do the switcheroo here? Do you remember? Oh, yeah, okay, they do. All right, never mind. Because this was something in the comic that I really love. Because we're going to see one of my other favorite DC characters, Hawkman.
Hawkman is an underrated character. I
He's
think it's
bad.
because he's a hawk.
He's like the Wolverine of the Justice League.
That's a good way to put him.
When they do Hawkgirl, I feel the same way about Hawkgirl. He's like the Wolverine of the Justice League.
Just hawks are the Wolverines of DC.
Yeah, because they'll take that mace and knock your head right off your shoulders. Like, there's no moral code with them. They're like, hey.
They're like, we are hawk people.
Yeah, do you think we carry this blunt object to not cause serious damage? Like, why would we pick a mace as our weapon if we weren't going to use it?
I miss the versions where he was actually a hawk.
There's a couple that, yeah, Hawkman is one of those characters, like Donna Troy. Like, their origins have been retold like 50 times. It's such a mess. It's just a mess sometimes.
Yeah, he's never been any good against magic because he fights Shazam.
There's Shazam. Kicking his butt, man. I like this pairing. Superman versus Shazam and Hawkman versus Batman. I like that. Cashling. Switch. I love that. He has a missile like on his wristband.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I can't fire a missile at Hawkman. That will kill him. But I can fire a missile at Shazam.
Right.
Oh,
I like that he calls
back
it
into
Marvel.
Billy.
Yep. Yep. The gloves of Horus. Oh. Cool. I love that. Now, the scar in his face, I think that was something in the comic. I don't think Batman gave him that scar just now. I think that was something he had during his time in the comic.
That makes sense. Because, I mean, when he transforms into Shazam, he doesn't have it.
He doesn't have it anymore. But in the comic, I think he did. So I don't know if that was just like a oversight or something. People just ride.
Luthor's like, don't worry, I got it. And everyone's like, oh, calamity.
I kind of like that. It says lima beans $10 per can because if you remember earlier, they were like, "Oh, the economy's doing good. This is doing good," but you see, they're charging $10 for lima beans. So it puts that bullshit that the government spins, where it's like look, everything's fine. You guys are doing fine. And you're like, we're not. You're charging $10 for lima beans.
Like, they're also throwing bricks through the window.
Right. I'm surprised that of all the live action Amanda Wallers they've done on TV and movies, I don't know why not once they just got CCH Pounder to play Amanda Waller. Because she looks like Amanda Waller in real life. Like she's she'd be perfect.
It is kind of weird.
Yeah. She doesn't look
He's
like
gone
this. Like,
crazy.
yeah. She doesn't look like this version of Amanda, but she looks like Amanda Waller in general. Yeah, he's lost it now. Jesus. Boundaries, dude. Jesus.
Yeah, that's her being like, oh, you are insane. Okay, you have completely lost your mind.
Right. I love that. I love that they beat their asses and took their costumes.
He's like, rip it off.
Yeah. That's actually a really iconic image in the comics where Superman rips this. He's holding Lex up one hand, he rips it off. They made a toy of it. It was like a Comic Con exclusive. So they made Superman in the Shazam costume, but with the torn shirt so you can see the Superman S. I love that. Where does Batman keep his black tights? Is he wearing them underneath there? He's got to have weird bulges sticking out of those tights.
Yeah, it's gotta be like a weird. Yeah, like, what? How is he keeping all his gadgets?
There we go. Okay. You're kind.
Batman's one of you.
Yeah, Batman's one. I love that.
I thought Amanda Waller's like, he's lost it. Guys, please do something else.
Like, yeah, he's not even talking. He wants the meteor to hit the planet now. Like,
Yeah, like, I'm gonna be like some sort of queen, I guess. Like, I don't know, not my bag.
yeah.
Amanda Waller's like, I prefer to be a spook. I'd like to,
Oh,
like,
the B word.
the what?
He called her the B word.
No, like, she's a government, like, agent.
No,
I
he
said
just
spook.
called her a bitch.
Oh.
I know what the term spook is. I love that this is General Lane, and they call him General, but they never said Lane the whole time.
Oh, he's got his mecha suit.
I'm a big fan of the Luthor armor. Like, I want,
It's fun. It's like the Hulkbuster.
yes, yeah, it is like Hulkbuster. Yeah,
It's sort of the same vibe when it gets brought out.
okay, Echo. Eat that baby. Eat that baby. The toy of that figure, by the way, was massive. I think all the other figures were like 6-inch toys, but that thing was like 8 inches tall.
I'm
And
surprised it wasn't more.
it was really bulky, and I don't think you could move the arm. The arms and legs didn't. There's not a lot of articulation.
They were kind of just like wiggly.
Yeah, a little. I mean, you can lift them up and down, but there was no like elbow bends, I don't think, or knee bends. This is neat because this plays a bigger role in the comic where they go see Toyman, and Toyman does show up a couple more times throughout the Jeff Loeb run. Um, but this is so up your alley, I feel.
Oh yeah, I mean how it. I mean for what it goes into. Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah. I love that. What kind of kid has this kind of money? I have this kind of money.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne's like, yeah, whatever. This is jump change.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, he only has one building.
He's got one tower, one skyscraper. Psh, got one in every city.
Yeah, Power Girl around a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah, I forget how kind of creepy the kid gets
He
with
does
Power
with it.
Girl.
Yeah, he gets a little, he crossed a few lines.
All the mecha.
This is Alex's dream secret hideout right here. Creep. What a creep. X-ray goggles.
Yeah, I love how Batman, like Superman's like, oh my god, this is the person we're trusting the world to.
Yeah, I love this because that's a lot of setup in the exposition there. He's like, yeah, I designed this when I was 7, and I was into hero worship back then. He goes, oh, and by the way, there's a manual pilot just in case.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
God, those jokes.
I love, I love it because you need contrast, and nothing is more contrast to these two Boy Scouts than a 13-year-old perverted kid. he's like, he's like, wow, it's big. He's like, or what did he say? He said something, and he's like,
Yeah, he's like, it's as big as Power Girls, and then they cut
yeah,
it
right,
off.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah, it's wildly inappropriate, but I mean, he's a 13-year-old kid with hormones.
Why isn't he? Why is he toy man? Why isn't he toy boy?
Well, I mean, he's trying to look older for Power Girl.
He's got a copyright to protect.
That's what he said. Yeah, he's copyright protect. Because original Toyman was like another creepy dude, but he was
Is
older.
that a prerequisite? You have to be pervy to be toy man.
One version of Toyman's pervy, um, but yeah, I guess so.
Keep going, toy man.
Who do you think out of the two has more experience talking to kids, Batman or Superman?
Superman.
You think so?
Yeah, because Superman grew up at least as a normal kid. Like he's like been to like a school and stuff. Like Batman kind of grew up isolated. I don't think like did Batman go to high school?
But Batman raises 4 kids.
Yeah, but Superman, I don't know. I don't. He doesn't raise them from like kids though. He usually gets them when they're like teenagers.
But yeah, just saying. I'm not saying he's good at talking to kids. I'm just saying.
I think Superman's better. I think Superman is better at talking to anyone in general than
No.
Batman.
I'm not saying who's better. I said who has more experience talking to kids.
Oh, more experience.
Yeah.
I still think Superman.
Still think Superman? Okay.
Yeah. Because he's a reporter. He talks to like everyone on a daily basis.
Superman talks to Robins on a daily basis and Batgirls.
Yeah, but they're not kids.
They were at one point.
But like, again, he doesn't get them till they're 13, and even Power Girl in this movie, they're like, "Is the kid here?" And she's like, "He's not a kid. He's a teenager."
But that's right. But they're all kids. If they're under 18, they're kids. Like they're maybe not your definition, but they're not adults. So, um, No, I'm just asking your opinion. Do you think Superman that's cool?
Superman, no.
Goodbye. This is Batman going, all right, someone's got to make the sacrificial play. That's always Batman's go-to. He's like, all right, I'll die. Like,
He's like, fine. I hate living anyway.
I'm like, let someone else do it for once.
I just want someone to be do that to Batman. Be like, Batman, stop being selfish. I'll die for us.
Yeah.
You have too much to do.
Oh, I love this. He's like, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, Superman, last minute save.
Yeah,
It would
dude.
have been it would have been actually great if that was Power Girl.
Yeah, that would have been nice to give her a moment there. Yeah, that's true.
Like like Superman stopped him for a little bit and now Power Girl's the one who keeps him from really blowing up the rocket or whatever.
Speaking of something like that, I saw Joe Manganiello, the guy who plays Deathstroke in the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
He came out and said that originally they were going to do it. Oh, hold on, I got to hear this. This is such a good speech. I love that. It's like, that was my best friend, and you just killed them. um, the guy who played Deathstroke, he said that originally he was after Snyder Cut, they were going to do a solo Batman movie with Ben Affleck,
Yeah.
where Deathstroke was kind of like a shark, like a Jason Voorhees kind of villain. He was just he keeps coming at Batman. Knows he's Bruce Wayne, so he uses that to like manipulate Bruce, stealing money from his accounts, like driving him crazy. And apparently it was like Batman finally meeting his match against someone physically and mentally in Deathstroke, and then and he studied all of Batman's moves and knew everything he was going to do. So in the end, when Batman's fighting him, uh, he's Deathstroke's getting the one up, but I guess throughout the movie they set up Batgirl, and then in the end, Batgirl was going to help Batman take down Deathstroke,
And that
uh,
was like what saves him.
and that's what saves him is that the fact that the Deathstroke studied Batman but didn't study Batgirl. Um, so the two of them together beat Deathstroke. I'm like, that would have been that actually sounds like it would have been really cool.
That does sound kind of interesting.
Um, so yeah, and someone was like, well, why wasn't it Dick Grayson or whatever? But it's like, well, Dick Grayson's dead in the Snyder universe. Like, he's the
Yeah.
Robin system.
And I mean, like a Batgirl of Burnside would be fun. I think like
Yeah. Oh, they did announce a Batgirl movie. I don't know if you've heard that news. Um, I mean, they've announced one before, but I guess they're really doing it, and they're going to start announcing casting soon for it.
now he's just like ripping the armor off.
I know he's like his bare foot is exposed. Oh,
Bam.
he just punched the president of the United States in the chest. He's ripping his clothes off. That's so awesome. That's one of those things where you go, no shit, computer. I know the impact is imminent.
I also love the glow of Superman's eyes with the laser beams and like smoke like that.
Yeah, when he's like coming through the smoke, and then once the
Yeah.
smoke clears, his eyes are normal. Like, yeah, that was a good shot. That's a really good shot. Ooh, come on, Soups. Okay.
My best friend.
Yeah. That thing must have got closer to Earth than I thought, because there's no way they would see that.
Yeah, it must have been like around the moon or something.
Yeah.
Like that distance.
Ooh. You had to break one more window.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care.
You're impeached. Don't sneeze. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Dude, cover your face. I can't hear you. You turn your mic off.
I thought I turned it off for the sneezes. Damn it.
You did. You did. But you didn't
Okay.
back on. Yeah.
That's an order from the president. As if everyone's forgotten.
Right. Right. Yeah. Did you not hear
You're like,
something? You're impeached.
no, Luther, that's not the issue.
I like that it had an escape pod that looks like the Batwing. With
I
a
mean, it
Superman.
makes sense because it is it's designed after Batman and Superman.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. I love that. Yeah. I always think about Batman whenever Batman saves the world, right? Like I always really love stories like that because it's so above his pay grade. Like Batman always just set out to just take down common criminals in Gotham, and then a lot of those criminals escalated their abilities to like super villain status. But he never really saw past Gotham. Like his goal was always to protect the city, and I always like that about Batman. He tries to. It's already hard enough to manage a whole city, but
Yeah.
I feel like whenever he saves the world, it's got to be like he's got the weight of that has got to never come off him because I'm sure he's like, this is not why I put on a bat costume. like
Yeah,
like if I
same
were
with,
in the world, I wouldn't be dressed as a bat to do it.
it's the same way like when Peter Parker saves the world.
Yeah,
He's like, I had like a few blocks in mind.
right, yeah, yeah. I really liked that in what was it, War of the Realms when Daredevil, another guy who just thinks about one neighborhood in New York, and they made him the new Heimdall. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah. And his
that's
design was so cool as Heimdall too. This like cosmic Daredevil, it was awesome.
and making the blind man be able to see from one end of the universe to the other. I'm like, that's just so poetic.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite War of the Realm moments as
Yeah.
well.
Hello, Lois. It would have been nice to get Dana Delaney back and put Lois in a few more scenes of this, but yeah, they were really strict. They had to like, for whatever reason, they had to stick to that hour and 10 minute like runtime.
Yeah, maybe it's just what they had the budget for and they couldn't do anything more. And they're like, okay, it's what we're making.
Right.
Calvin Tran was Toyman.
Yeah.
Oh, LeVar Burton was was the Lightning. Black Lightning.
Yeah, Black Lightning. He didn't have a lot of lines, but yeah.
I love LeVar Burton.
Me too.
I've been watching. Oh yeah, Sam Liu was a storyboard artist as well.
On this
So
one,
he
yeah.
did some of this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Eric
Bill
Kenneddy's also on here.
Lauren
Let's see.
Montgomery.
Adam
Yeah.
Von Wink, Alan Wen.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some. I always liked it. Like I always see Eric Kenneddy's name on all these DC animated movies, and I think he's such a good artist.
Yeah.
I love seeing his stuff.
You introduced me to his stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you're a big fan of that guy. But did you?
Yeah.
Was it? You brought me to meet him at a con, I think, once too.
Eric Kennedy? I don't know. Maybe we did. I think he's a nice guy. I think I've only met him like once.
I can't remember. Was it him? Maybe it was somebody else. But I remember. I know you talk about him a lot because I know you're a fan of his stuff. Yeah, a lot of these guys they start off doing storyboards and things like that. It's fun to watch their. I love following people's careers. I think I get most interested in that kind of stuff. I like seeing people succeed because these industries are God, they're so tough, right? Like creative
Yeah.
industries. And so to see Sam Loos start off doing storyboards on things like I can't remember what show, Jackie Chan Adventures. He did some things like that, and then he starts directing the Batman episodes, and then goes on from there. And it's like, and then to the point where like, you know, I was able to go interview him and like and talk to him. And if I post something, on I don't have Twitter anymore, but when I did, he would like see it and stuff. And he's just the nicest guy in the world. Like and he's so grateful. Like when I told him how much of a fan I was of his and how I've been following him and Brandon Vietti's career for years, he's just like, people do that? Like people care that where I began and where I'm at now, and I'm like, I do. I find it immensely interesting because I think the guy has insane talent. Like he's just insanely talented.
I mean, yeah, I enjoy these movies a lot. These are some of my favorite.
These to me,
Um,
these are the best representations of DC in most cases. Like I like
well,
them
really,
more than a lot of the comics when they come out at the times. I like them more than the movies a lot of the times.
the animated shows and movies of the DC universe are really kind of peak stuff. Like the Justice League Unlimited show and just the normal Justice League show. Like some of those older animated shows, the Batman animated series, like Batman Beyond, like all these things are just inventive yet classic.
Agreed. Absolutely agree. Well, if we don't get a guest, and I know we're going to try to get Shuddy next week for a New Frontier, but if anything pops up or the week after if we can't get Kevin or whatever, my pick is definitely for Apocalypse. Um, I love that story, and I think actually it has one of my favorite Batman moments in it, and it has my favorite setting for a Superman fight in it as well. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to watch that one next.
I am also excited to watch it because I haven't watched like that Apocalypse movie in a while. I just remember sort of the basic plot. It's like Supergirl comes to Earth and it's like Superman teaching her sort of the how to be human and how to like live and stuff.
Yeah, because in the comics up until this point, there was a Supergirl in the '90s, but her real name was Matrix, and she was a genetically engineered being on an alternate universe. And she was created by Pete Ross and a couple of, and like Alexander Luthor, a good guy like Luthor. And the reason they created her was because in that universe, Zod showed up with his like sidekicks, and they killed Superman and killed 98% of the planet. So by the time Superman from our world goes over there, there's only Lex Luthor alive, or Alexander Luthor alive, Pete Ross, and Matrix, who has taken the shape of Supergirl. So when Zod kills Alexander Luthor and Pete, there's no one left. So Superman ends up killing Zod and his followers, and then bringing Supergirl Matrix back into our world. So throughout the '90s, you had Peter David writing a, a genetic mutation from another reality pretending to be a Supergirl. But then Matrix died eventually, and they never were like, well, all right, well, post Crisis, we don't have an actual Supergirl. So Superman Batman Apocalypse is literally the post Crisis origin of Kara Zor-El. It's like 17 years after Crisis on Infinite Earths, they finally told a new origin for Supergirl, like
Oh, that's cool.
who was
They
Kara
didn't make
Zor-El.
her a genetic creature from another dimension.
Yeah, the '90s were a fun time. Um, but yeah, so this was like her first definitive retelling of her origin, and so yeah, I like that aspect of it. But I love the dark side stuff. Like dark side is so scary in Apocalypse. I just wish they didn't title it Apocalypse and spell it like the X-Men villain or like the actual word Apocalypse. I wish they spelled it like um, the planet, like they did with Justice League Dark. But it's whatever.
Well, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, either way, it's still a good movie. It's a minor nitpick. So we'll check that out next, or New Frontier if we get Shuddy on next week.
Yeah, I think Shuddy should be on next week. We'll see. I think it'll be good.
Great. So I know we started this late, but any last things you want to talk about before we head out?
Oh, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I'm a little tired, and the reason we started late tonight is because of me. I'm having to feel well today, and I made the mistake of, while I'm not feeling well, still go out and do grocery shopping. Because I was like, well, if I don't, I'm going to have no food over the weekend and nothing to bring to work with me. And I'm glad I did it, but it took the last bit of energy out of me. So I asked Alex, I go, either we do it later or Saturday night. And luckily we have to do it tonight because in case I have to work late Saturday, at least I can come home and go to sleep. So next week, man, same bat time, same bat channel.
I agree with all of that.
Awesome. So tune in next week. We'll either check out New Frontier or we'll check out, Batman, Superman, Apocalypse. One of those two. Whatever one we don't get to, we'll get to the other one the following week, hopefully. Or we'll have Kevin on or something. We'll figure it all out.
Yeah, I'll text Kevin and see if he wants to come on.
We'll text Kevin and see if he's around in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But let's pin Shuddy in and see if we can't get him on too. Obviously, that's the first up. But before we pin a date for Kevin, let's see if we can get Shuddy in next week.
Well, sounds like a plan.
Cool. All right. Well, then, thank you all for watching, and we will see you all next time. Peace out, homies.